You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's Basketball Wives After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Basketball Wives After Show.
They're playing basketball.
Okay.
They love that basketball.
Well, they are not playing basketball, but you know. Welcome back, everyone. We are here at the AFTERBUZZ Studios doing another after show for our favorite show, Basketball Wives. It is, of course, Season 5, Episode 6. And, I'm Rebecca Prince, and I have my lovely co-host here today,
Gabrielle Loren. What's up, guys?
So, we're getting right into the season. We're picking up where we left off last week. And, of course, the first topic of the show this week sort of seemed to be the Evelyn and Tasha drama. She stormed out of dinner last week, and we saw her crying on the street and being consoled by Shaunie. And, what do you think about the whole situation? Obviously, everyone sort of on the show has had their opinions about the comments that Tasha made, and Evelyn feels strongly one way. So do you think it was insensitive, considering this was her good friend, to sort of be making these comments?
I agree with Evelyn. I think that if you say it twice, there's got to be some sort of insensitiveness to it, because it's not something that was just once blown over, joke, whatever, funny, haha. But to keep bringing it up and not being sensitive to the fact that she actually was a victim of domestic violence is a little ridiculous, because it is her friend, and to go through something that serious is scarring.
Yeah. So
I'm sure to even have anyone bring it up and not take it seriously as a friend, it's really hurtful to Evelyn.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
I agree. And, I think she handled it pretty well, considering. But it's funny to hear sort of, her and Tammy talking about it, who have notoriously been in past episodes the hotheads, and Tammy even encouraging Evelyn to confront her. But it obviously, like she said herself, in the past, Evelyn probably would have thrown a glass or a chair or jumped over a table. And this time she's just sort of walking away from the situation, being upset, talking to the other ladies, but then still going to confront Tasha, which we end up seeing later on in the episode.
Right. We have two shocking moments here at this lunch. She just walks out quietly, and then Tammy gets loud for a second and then sits back down and doesn't say anything else, which was kind of like a miracle, I feel like, during the episode. It was really funny.
It was funny, but it shows the ladies are really attempting to change. And
They
I guess
are.
whatever happened last season surely has carried over this year and made them keep their behavior up. I don't know. I think, later on in the episode, we see Evelyn sit down with Tasha and sort of confront the issue. And Tasha keeps claiming that it was a joke and that's her personality, but I personally think she was just being passive aggressive, because I think she still secretly is really angry that Evelyn included her husband's affair in her book, regardless of the fact that Evelyn didn't name names and so forth. So I don't know. I kind of feel like she's being passive aggressive and coming at Evelyn the only way she can, which is making these snide comments about her domestic violence issue.
I would agree with that, because she's a pretty quiet person and reserved, so you don't see her loosen up that much, like the girls were saying. That's why they got her that dildo gift. So I could totally see it being kind of built up anger and that passive aggressiveness. I don't know. I feel like who wouldn't be mad about a friend putting their private dirty laundry in a book for the world to read, and not even like coming out and labeling it, but secretly this girl's one of her friends, like it's probably about her situation.
Yeah.
I mean, and she didn't even warn her, which is really messed up. And I don't think how she was saying it's kind of like, I blew it over, I didn't really care, I didn't get mad at you for it. I don't think she really did blow it over. I really think that as a friend, you're going to get upset. It's something you clearly are uncomfortable talking about.
Yeah.
You know, and who wants their husband to cheat on them with their chef nonetheless and have the world know that their husband's a cheater and like hooks up with their staff?
And that you had to pay the chef $1 million because
Yes.
he told her, if you keep quiet, I'll pay you this money. And then she sues him because he didn't, pay in full. And then it ends up being all over,
Right.
The media. So, but in Evelyn's defense, because it was a public topic, I mean, people did know, and maybe people didn't put two and two together before when the book came out. And then once they saw the story on TMZ, if you read the book, you're like, oh, now it makes sense.
Yeah, it's official now.
I mean, I think they're both kind of wrong, and they're guilty of not being the best friends to each other because, one, I wouldn't want my best friend putting my dirty laundry in her book. But at the same time, people do it, and you have to sell books and make it entertaining. But I also think Tasha isn't being a great friend by sort of, keeping making these jokes about Evelyn's situation. Obviously, it's something she's really struggling with. We see her in tears almost every episode. So,
well, sometimes when one person's not happy in their own relationship, they take it out on the people around them. So maybe because she's not happy in her own relationship, I mean, we never see her husband really on the show.
well, he is overseas playing basketball.
Right,
in his
but
defense,
they're not even on the phone talking.
Yeah.
You don't see anything about him.
That's
you don't
true.
see how they keep in contact. So maybe she's taking out her anger on her friends and knowing that they've gone through situations that haven't been so glamorous, making more light of that to make her own situation feel a little more tolerable.
Yeah, I wonder
don't
why
know.
Stefan hasn't been on the show. I wonder if it is because he's overseas playing or kind of like the rest of the guys. I mean, we really haven't seen any of the men behind the women on the show since like the first couple of seasons when Jennifer Williams was on with her husband at the time, Eric, and then Gloria Govan and Matt were on the show. And, they've sort of, since his role has sort of, even though she's on Basketball Wives LA, he's sort of taken a step back. So I don't know, is it image, you think, or is it just he's not interested? Or
I think
maybe
he's not
they're-
interested
yeah.
is one of the reasons because if he was interested, they could always do Skype, and
True.
film that or emails, phone calls, whatever. And there's none of that. So I think it's A, he's not interested, and B, maybe they have a really bad relationship behind closed doors and people don't realize.
Sheesh, the only athlete who was willing to come on the show was Ocho Cinco, and he headbutted it, lost his
Yep.
own show, and now we don't even get to see him on Basketball
True
Wives.
that.
But we still get to talk about him. Well, now that Evelyn and Tasha sort of ironed out their drama relating to these jokes, I mean, there's plenty of other stuff that we're going to get to later on, just from this episode alone. There is always, we've seen since last season that Basketball Wives are sort of trying to incorporate a good deed almost every episode. And this week, the good deed sort of happened to be from last season when Tammy and Evelyn went and got mammograms on the show. And then one of the viewers actually wrote Shaunie an email thanking her for talking about this topic on the show, and it encouraged her to go get a mammogram, which they then found cancer. So she's sort of crediting the Basketball Wives for saving her life, which I'm pretty sure that's the first time anyone has credited Basketball Wives for saving them for anything.
Wait a second. This whole situation's actually really weird now that I think about it because, I mean, you know how TV works. Usually they film the season and it's done with and then it all airs. So does that really make sense?
I don't know. I mean, continuity-wise, maybe last season, maybe they just got to the letters. They said it was sent to Shaunie. Shaunie's a producer. Maybe someone from her production company got it and was like, oh, this will be a good storyline to weave in there. I mean, either way, I think it was nice. And I think if, them going to get mammograms did raise awareness for the community and for
Right.
women, that they are doing something positive. But it also it seemed to come a little bit out of nowhere. But I guess, since they're in New York for the week, they got to do it all. And that's where that lady was. So it was nice that they sat down with her and sort of got to hear what, them being a public figure has a positive impact on someone's life as opposed to being called a bully and all this other crazy stuff.
I agree. I would definitely say it's refreshing to see the ladies. It's always nice to see the ladies have the drama, but then also come together and be normal people once in a while. So it was cool to see that, and also the fact that this woman's now surviving cancer, and we know that for Tammy, it's close to home because her mother's currently struggling with liver cancer and is probably going to pass soon.
Yeah.
So it's a scary thing, but it's nice to see the relation and the human factor. I did want to go back, though. Sorry to jump back, but on the whole domestic violence thing, when Susie was in the limo in that conversation, and then she met up with Evelyn after, and they had their convo, she said that she was kind of shocked when the joke was made by Tasha. But did you see that? I did not see her shocked at all. Susie had no look of shock in her face.
See, I think
that was BS to just kind of like make the situation better on her behalf.
I don't know. I think Susie flip-flops. She's always kind of in the middle starting mess. But I genuinely think because that was one of the first times that she has met Tasha and then Tasha made that joke. It is one of those things when like kind of you're around someone you don't know and they say something that makes you uncomfortable. You don't necessarily want to like correct them because you don't know them. You don't have a relationship. That's what you're sort of building at the time. I think she was shocked, but I definitely think at the same time maybe instead of laughing about it and brushing it off her shoulders that she probably should have stuck up for a friend, especially since she has been so vocal about Evelyn not being, not going back to Chad and that she's suffered, her own incidents with domestic violence. So it is a little surprising that she would laugh it off. But, sometimes when people are in uncomfortable situations, they laugh at the wrong time,
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with that, but I just feel like Susie, and we've talked about this before, I feel like she just goes along with the crowd,
Yeah.
And in that situation, I think she was truly laughing because she didn't even apply it to her own life.
Yeah.
She probably wasn't even thinking, oh, yeah, that happened to me once too,
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think that it wasn't really that uncomfortable for her at the time. I don't think she was shocked either. I think it was just a way to get out of the situation with Evelyn and make herself seem better and a better friend.
I agree. I mean, there's definitely, I think Susie goes along with the crowd. And because then when you see her with Evelyn, you see her saying it makes her uncomfortable and, that she feels bad that Evelyn's disappointed in her. But what do you expect? I mean, you're being her biggest advocate to, stay strong and not go back into an abusive relationship. And then you're laughing at these like underhanded, comments, jokes, whatever she wants to call them. I get Evelyn being disappointed, but hopefully this isn't going to be a setback in their friendship, like Susie said, and they'll be able to move forward and sort of keep, mending their relationship. But I guess we'll have to see.
Right. I think this show makes great TV. There's just so much drama in it, and I love these girls, especially together. And speaking of great TV, what about great movies? Serial Buddies is available on DVD right now.
Yes.
You can get it on iTunes, among many other places like Blockbuster, if they're still around in your town, Amazon, tons of stuff. It's a really, really funny comedy put together by Kevin Undergaro and Maria Menounos with Kathy Lee Gifford, among so many other amazing people. So you guys must purchase it, again, on iTunes, Amazon, Blockbuster, wherever you can get your DVDs at. Netflix even. It's huge today.
Yeah, because Serial Buddies, by downloading this, all the money is going to come back to the AfterBuzz Studios to keep our lights on and keep us recapping all of your favorite TV shows. And since it is available on iTunes, you guys can also come onto iTunes, download the podcast that we're doing, comment, rate it, tell a friend about it. I mean, we always encourage people to call in with questions, tweet us with questions or comments about the show, because just like you, we are fans of the show, and we want to hear what you guys have to think about it. So moving right along, though, getting back to Basketball Wives, the other big point of the show tonight, this episode kind of was all about Tasha, whether it was her drama with Evelyn or the Weave Bar opening and her birthday. Let's talk about the Weave Bar opening. It was her big grand opening. It was very interesting because last week we saw that it was like not ready at all, and then somehow they pulled it off and were able to, have a grand opening without, a few bumps in the road. But I thought it was interesting. I thought this Weave Bar sort of sounded like a more upscale type of place where you can just drop in. It's going to be luxurious, like Dry Bar. You go in, you get your blowouts, you're done in 30 minutes, you get your weave sewn in. I did not know that this place was going to be in Brownsville, Brooklyn. If you guys are not familiar with the Brownsville, Brooklyn part of the country, it is probably one of the worst areas in all of Brooklyn. It is a rough place. I mean, there's a lot of gentrification going on in areas of Brooklyn like Bed-Stuy. Brownsville hasn't reached that yet, and it's a rough spot. So I was surprised to see a more upscale, Weave Bar opening in that area, but I guess it kind of explains why they couldn't get the name right, and they had that weird big mascot walking around. I mean, what did you think when you saw them there?
I mean, first of all, having the signage wrong, that really sucks, and whoever made that clearly can't spell or see. I don't know if maybe it was just too late at that point, so they just stuck it up and were like, just leave it and hope she doesn't notice.
Celebrity so wins.
Yeah,
as
wins.
opposed to celebrity so ins.
so bad. And then, I mean, inside, it's just like if it was me and I was Tasha investing in this company, I would push the grand opening or not have it at all, because I'd rather not be embarrassed, especially when you're inviting like celeb people from Beverly Hills who are famous for their weaves. And in that industry, why would you want to look bad in front of these people you hope to be potential clients and work with? It's just strange. And the fact that she knows nothing about weaves in general and hair makes it clearly obvious to me as to why it was such a train wreck of an opening. But I mean, I think it's a cool idea. I think it's a bad location. But I think all Tasha was responsible for was feeding them the check like she was joking about. But I think that's really what the situation is, because clearly she has no idea of where she put her salon, what's going to be inside of it.
Or not, or the lack of things that are inside of it. She was like, there's no TVs yet. The VIP room isn't up yet. So it's like, why not just wait? I'm kind of like, I'm a Virgo, so I like everything to be, in like perfect order and be done a certain way before you just flaunt it. Evelyn said the same thing, and I kind of agree. I mean, Tammy was really giving her a hard time this episode about it. She was like asking her questions about the weaves and then like sort of schooling her on how you do it. Like, oh, well, they get it braided and then you put, the netting on top so it's less tension on your hair. And Tasha was just like, I don't know, nothing. It was like blank. It was almost like a Susie reaction. Like, she's like, oh, really? Like, I know nothing about hair. Every woman knows something about hair. We have hair. Tasha's got hair. Like, you know a little bit, but why invest in something if there's no passion behind it, I guess.
Right. And what was crazy to me was that Tammy also referenced, do you have any other businesses? And she said, yeah, like I've had tons of businesses. She goes, okay, what did you have? And she said, a clothing store. She's like, is it open? She said, no, it's closed. But it's like, clearly you don't know or have any idea of what a successful business is. And she is not hands-on at all, even though she says she wants to be. Because she just gives them the money, lets them do the work, and then shows up on the grand opening. And that's honestly nuts to me.
Yeah.
Like, what do you do? Does your husband not care that you're throwing, like, probably thousands of dollars into this and you're losing it? I mean, it's like gambling, and it just goes.
Yeah, I agree.
It drains away.
I agree, but I guess if you're willing to pay, tell your chef that you'll pay her $1 million to keep her mouth shut about the affair, he does not care about how much money she's spending.
True story.
But it is, I mean, like, why not have like one thing that you're passionate about and you invest your money at, and as opposed to having a bunch of little projects that you don't really care about and then you see fail? Like, that doesn't look good on a resume. It's like, you don't want to do something half-assed. You want to do it real. And then I don't know what was going on with that weird puppet-like mascot that they have. What was her name? Big Diva?
Yeah, Big Diva.
Why? Why do you need a mascot for a weave bar?
The first thing I thought of when I saw that was Big Ange from VH1. I was like, are they trying to do the same thing? Because that's all I was thinking of, Big Diva, Big Ange. I don't know. I think it's a little ridiculous. It's great for marketing on TV, maybe not so much in that area of Brooklyn.
I know, because Evelyn and Tammy really seemed concerned that like they were going to send Big Diva out in the streets and she was going to get robbed, and Tammy said kicked in the head. I mean, I don't know. Her weave did look on point, but someone out there might snatch it.
I mean, she had a nice necklace on. I could see that getting snatched up real quick.
It was just so weird. That whole weave bar thing was really weird. And then to sort of transition into, it was like the weave bar opening and then we're going into Tasha's birthday. But my favorite part was because it was so janky when Tammy called Tasha. She's getting ready for her birthday party and tells her, okay, I can't come to your party because my eyes have been acting crazy.
They're swollen.
Can you check your spot for asbestos? I mean, come on, Tammy. I get that maybe your eyes have been acting funny, but maybe it was whatever chemicals were in there. I don't know. I just thought that was pulling it out of left field, but I thought it was hilarious.
So in the last 24 hours between like the grand opening and Tasha's party, I'm loving how honest Tammy is.
Yeah.
She is amazing to me because this is when I love her, because I want you to be honest. I want you to be real. I don't want you to go behind that girl's back, talk to the other person, and say what you really think. I want it to be said to their face and then see their reaction. And it's funny to me that Tasha's pretty chill about everything.
Yeah,
she just takes it and she's like, okay, Tammy, all right. And that's it. It's just doesn't faze her. She's just like black, white.
Yeah, that's kind of how she seems always. I wonder if there's anything that ever really pushes her buttons. Because, I mean, listen, obviously I wouldn't get all worked up when I'm getting ready to go to my birthday party. But if you're telling me that you came to one of my events and now your eyes are swollen and I should check my building for asbestos, I mean, come on. She doesn't know that the sign outside is spelled wrong. Why do you think she's going to know anything about asbestos in the walls at the Weave Bar?
If somebody told me that on my business, I would tell them to get their head checked first.
I mean, she said she would send a picture, but, Tammy's also been missing birthday parties this season. She didn't show up to Evelyn's pita launch / birthday party. Do you think she's just trying to, like, maybe stay away from, like, the drinking events since she knows that's a trigger?
To me, I was thinking that was more of a joke and she was going to laugh at the end. I was thinking maybe it was more surrounding her mom. That's why she maybe was not going to come again.
Yeah.
But then she kept going on with it and didn't laugh at the end. And I was like, oh, shit, that was serious.
I know. It was pretty funny, I have to say. Tammy definitely, like, her one-liners, whether she's being serious or she's just kind of, like, telling you whatever, how she thinks it is, she's got some good one-liners. She could do comedy, I think.
Did you think that she was avoiding drinking?
I don't know. Like, I don't necessarily. I know when they were back in L.A. and Evelyn had her pita launch and birthday party at Supper Club, she didn't come, and she said it was because her mom was sick and she couldn't make it. But they're all in New York for this, this week of events, the Weave Bar opening, the birthday party. They all went, shopping for, the exotic toys for her gift together. So it kind of seemed weird for her to pull the plug, but maybe she really wasn't feeling well, or maybe she just didn't look good and she didn't want to go. I don't know. But we have kind of seen, we know that her trigger is drink. So maybe this is just kind of her way of, like, staying away from that.
What do you think's worse? The excuse of not coming because your eyes are swollen due to asbestos, or going to the party, showing up, and then leaving before the party starts?
Well, yeah, I don't know. I think, honestly, I think she was probably better off just canceling, and at least she told her up front that she wouldn't be there.
What the deal was.
But, the ladies did. They showed up to her birthday party, which was supposed to start at 8 o'clock, and Tasha didn't show up for 2 hours. Apparently, they sat around for 2 hours.
Were they the only one, though, that got that memo? Because it seemed like the whole crowd came in when they were supposed to.
Yeah.
With Tasha.
I don't know. We were talking while we were watching the show, and especially in New York, it's not... Birthday parties, if they're at a club, they don't start at 8 o'clock. I mean, you don't get to a club for a birthday party till at least 11, maybe 12.
30. Later.
Yeah, especially in New York because everything stays open till 4 in the morning. But I don't know, it seemed a little weird. I mean, maybe it was one of those venues like a supper club kind of place where everyone was supposed to go at 8 and could kind of eat and hang out before, like, the craziness of, like, popping bottles started. But it seemed like those 3 ladies and, like, a handful of other people were there who were all on their phones. So I don't know where the miscommunication was. But in their defense also, Tasha did show up late to the Weave Bar opening, and then they invite her, she invites them to their birthday, and 2 hours after the time they're told to be there, she doesn't show up. I get it. I work early in the morning. If I have to go somewhere and people are running late and I have to be up at the crack of dawn for whether it's work or a flight, like the ladies were saying, it is kind of annoying to have someone not show up when they're supposed to. I appreciate punctuality, I have to say. But it's her birthday party. It's a club. So, no, I wouldn't expect to go there at 8 o'clock and have the party, like, popping. But
I get that, too. But as good friends, like, wouldn't you think to at least text her and be like, why are you running late? When will you be here? And see what the response is.
Yeah.
Before you up and leave, have the waitress just hand off a gift you were supposed to give, and she wonders, who is this even from?
Yeah.
It wasn't even clear of what happened to the girls.
And who really knows, because, Susie was in the hotel room with Tasha when she was getting dressed, so you would think if anyone kind of knew the timing or when they were supposed to be there, that it would be, Susie and the girls, and she had just been with her. But I don't know. I don't know what the problem was, but apparently she's not happy about it, and we're going to see like the fallout of that next week, which seems very interesting.
It does, because people start getting loud, especially with Susie. Poor Susie, she just gets like the brunt of everything.
Well, she should stay out of the middle. But the other thing I kind of thought was funny is, and you know, maybe Tasha was just like, it's her birthday, so she wants to do her, you know, be on her time. And on your birthday, you can kind of get away with whatever you want. That's the one day you can get away with most stuff. But like, even she was mad that they brought out the cake with a sparkler in it and not candles, and she sent it back and told them to bring it out with candles. It's like, duh, it's a club. Like, bottles come out with sparklers. Why wouldn't you expect your cake to come out with the sparkler?
But the sparkler wasn't on.
It was at first.
Oh, it was? Okay,
yeah.
so I was like, maybe I looked down for a second to write a note, but I looked up, and when they brought it to her, it was already off.
Yeah.
So I was kind of confused about that. Usually they keep it on for a little while.
No, it was on, but that's what I mean. It's like, okay, a sparkler is a giant candle, more or less. No, you know,
she's
like
a little diva. That's what she is.
It just seemed a little thing, and I think probably it rubs her the wrong way. Also, that the ladies left because all of her friends who were there were like, "Where's Shaunie? Where's Evelyn? Where's Susie?" So you know, like when you have people there asking you where other people are, it's like it's annoying, and it is a constant reminder.
Yeah, it's a constant reminder. It's embarrassing because those are supposed to be your friends.
Yeah.
And you're trying to have fun, and this is all you're hearing all night, so it's obnoxious.
Do you think that she ended up like loosening up and having a good time?
I think she did, but I definitely believe that in the back of your mind, until you get really drunk, you're going to be constantly thinking about the fact that your friend just ditched you on your birthday, didn't leave you a message. Like I just said, that would have been at least something nice to do. At least let them know you're leaving before, you know, they have to find out on their own.
But maybe she did know because, you know, when she got there, she was like, oh, they left. So maybe she knew somehow they texted her. I don't know. I mean, if they were there waiting for 2 hours, listen, I get it.
But she said she didn't know why they left, and she didn't know who the gift was from. So that was confusing then.
Yeah, it was.
I would assume she'd know they left if they weren't there because she knew what time they were supposed to be there at.
Yeah.
But I don't think anything else was clear.
Yeah.
And if that was my friend, yeah, we'd have a huge problem. Oh my God, I probably would not talk to you for a good amount of time after that. Because it's messed up. And yeah, granted, you have work the next day, then just don't come. We'll do something else another time.
That's true.
You know?
They could have pulled the Tammy card and said, hey, we have an early flight. We're not going to make it.
Yeah, I'd rather that. She had enough people there to entertain her.
Maybe they just need to communicate better, because if the ladies thought they were supposed to be there at 8 and you're not showing up till well after 10 o'clock, I mean, obviously something fell through the cracks, whether it was planned by production or, you know, that was just the ladies kind of being like, all right, we're done. We're over it.
And now that I think about it, how you said it would have to have been a supper club or something where you'd have dinner beforehand, it must have been one of those restaurant places that turns into like a bar club at after hours, because there's no club that's open at 8 p.m. They don't open their doors at 8 p.m. So, granted, there was no one there, but it was probably a dinner spot, like you said.
And the ladies were eating. I mean, they had hors d'oeuvres circulating. So, I don't know. It just kind of, I don't know if it's just like Tasha's events, but everything just sort of seems poorly planned. And
I don't think she plans. That's why.
Yeah.
And it's funny to me because I think we both think that she's pretty... I mean, have they said it on the show that she's a little OCD about things, so they would expect her to be able to be that planner, but she hasn't followed through with any of, you know, her parties or anything where it's planned out to be perfect, you know?
Yeah.
So it's funny to see how, like, straightforward she is and, you know, to the T, like, reserved and just not, I don't know, she's just not, like, loose, I guess, is what I'm saying, and she doesn't plan anything, so it's kind of like everything falls apart in a snap.
Yeah, and it is weird because she's always, I mean, she's perfectly put together all the time.
Yeah.
Like, she seems like she has everything so together, but then the two events that we've seen her sort of throwing have ended up being kind of like just a mess. Yeah, it was a bust. The ladies were all dressed up, too. And there's nothing worse than getting dressed up and going somewhere and then realizing, like, this is not fun.
Well, now we know whose party to not go to.
Evelyn's looked way better at Supper Club.
Right.
Did Tasha show up to Evelyn's birthday? I think so, right? I don't remember.
I don't remember either, actually.
Well,
fans, let us know. Comment.
Either way, we know that this birthday party is not one that's going to be forgotten because, as we saw on the previews next week, the ladies really, really get into it.
Yes.
On a side note, going back, because I forgot about this, when we were talking about the Weave Bar opening and the fact that Tammy, called out because she fears that her eyes were affected by the asbestos, why does Susie not know what asbestos is?
Yes.
How Susie
great.
is a grown woman and mother to several children, and you don't know about this stuff?
It shocks me, but I mean, she's a young mom, no? She is a young mom, right?
I don't know exactly how old she is. We've never really had anyone address it, and I don't.
Yeah.
If any of the viewers know how old Susie is, please let us know, because hopefully she's just on the younger side. But still, there's no.
It could be that Asian blood. That's what it is, and the braces.
It's true. It makes her look young.
Yeah, they don't age. That's why.
She just needs. I just need her to get a little more common sense, or just. I don't even need her to be book smart. Just common sense would help. Common sense goes a long way.
And even in the hotel room when Tasha was getting her makeup done, she misheard something that Tasha was saying. She said something to the effect where she thought it was PNA, like pain in the ass or something.
But she really said opinionated.
Yeah. Like, that's a classic example of Susie.
She's just like a space cadet, I think, which those are always fun to have around, but they're also sometimes really annoying when you want to have like a serious conversation. You're like, oh my God, girl, can I please? No, I can't talk to you about this because you don't even know what I'm talking about.
They're fun when you're drunk and having a good time, but when you're, like you said, in a serious setting, no, doesn't work.
So we saw the previews for next week. What are some of the predictions that we think is gonna go down next week?
Yikes.
Oh. Get our
And
creepy
now,
prediction music
your
going.
AfterBuzz TV.
And the lights.
Ooh, I like this. It's like getting to Halloween or something out here.
Right? It's all spooky in the AfterBuzz studios.
The yellow strobe lights. Well, we see Tasha freak out on Susie, which is interesting. And also the rest of the group, I think they sit down, right, and have a convo about why they left her party early.
Yeah.
She's definitely going to give them a piece of her mind, I think. And Susie, I think, is just that easy person to get away with hashing out how you feel about the rest of the group. So I think she's just going to get all the backlash because of it, because it's just easy to pick on Susie. I don't know.
Yeah, I was curious why Susie seemed to be getting, I mean, we don't know what happened because we just saw the preview, but seemed to be getting the brunt of Tasha's anger. I mean, she told her to use one of the dildos that they bought her and put it in her mouth.
Yep.
What you do on your own time is your business, but that certainly wasn't a friendly comment. But I liked Susie's rebuttal, and I can't wait to hear what's going to happen next week. But I think it's going to go down. I mean, I think Shaunie is kind of annoyed with Tasha, and I think she's going to next week sort of take some time to put her in her place, whether it's about her being late or whatever. But I definitely think next week is going to get interesting. I say this every week. I say, oh, I think we're leading up to some drama. I think we're leading up to some drama. And then it always kind of simmers out before it really picks up. So hopefully next week there's a little bit of confrontation so we can see the ladies just, a little bit of excitement.
I'm wondering if the group's going to split and Tammy is going to side with Tasha because Tammy wasn't there.
Oh, I don't know. I don't think that'll happen just because I think the dynamic that Evelyn, Shaunie, and Tammy have is pretty strong. But I wonder if this is going to sort of separate the group and isolate Tasha being, that she is the new girl and kind of leave her on the outskirts, because it seemed like Susie was, Evelyn's obviously her friend for a long time. Shaunie knows her, but Susie seems to be the one person who's warming up to her most as the new person in the group. And then to sort of see that they're on the verge of this blowout. I mean, hopefully it's like one of those big blowouts and then you get it over with and you move on and you're friends, but we'll just have to wait and see. It'll definitely be interesting.
And maybe when Tasha warms up to the rest of the group and feels more comfortable, she will kind of develop a bigger mouth for herself.
Yeah, well,
I could see that towards the end of the season, her opening up a little more and getting a little louder.
Maybe a little more aggressive and not so passive aggressive.
Yes.
All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to our AfterBuzz Basketball Wives after show. We will be back here next Monday, and we might even have a guest, but we'll keep you posted on that. As always, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Rebecca Prince TV. And this week I'll be doing sports news for The Fumble. So if you want to find out all about what's going on these ladies off camera, tune in there and watch some of our videos. And Gabby, where can they find you?
What's up, guys? You can find me on Instagram at Gabby, GABBYLO87, and Twitter at Gabrielle_Loren. Make sure you check me out on there. I'm always updating my statuses and pictures and photos and videos so you can see what I'm up to. Mostly production stuff, but it's all good and fun. Entertainment, y'all.
Thank you guys so much, and make sure you come back next week, and please tweet us, comment, rate us on iTunes, do all that fun stuff, because we like to hear from you.
Thanks.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.